Today, we're going to be looking at organizing the different sections in your class notebook. Specifically, we'll be looking at more navigation, decisions you need to make about your layout, and how to organize those sections. All right, so in order to organize your class notebook, there are a lot of considerations that need to be made, but of course, we first need to go there. So from your general channel, I'm going to click on Class Notebook. And then as you can see, it opens the notebook up here. I actually want to view it in a wider screen than what we see here. So I'm going to come to the top and I'm going to click on these two arrows that say expand tab when you hover on it. And basically what this does is it makes Class Notebook take up the entire screen or the entire tab that I have open. And then I also want to view my navigation panel. So I've got my task navigation up here across the top. And then I want to look at my actual tab navigation for the team itself here on the left. So I'm going to click on this arrow and it says Open Navigation Panel. Okay, so as you can see, I've got my navigation panel open and then I've got my viewing screen here. If you look at your teams as an outline, you are going to see that everything on the far left is your main headers. These would be your Roman numerals, so to speak. And it's basically the larger folders containing smaller folders. Everything in this middle tab right here are in as part of your outline are the A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3s, etc. that fall under your main headings. So you can see that you can come over here and you can add a section, and those would be like adding Roman numerals to an outline. And then under each section you can add a page right here in the middle, and those would be like your supporting details and additional things. So if you look here with my welcome, I've got the single welcome tab section, and then here I've got a welcome to class page and a class rules page. Now every other tab here has this little arrow, directional to the right arrow, next to it, and basically what that means is these are files that can be expanded. So when I click on that, basically it's thinking, and suddenly I have several additional tabs under here. And then when I click on one of those tabs, any pages that I have filed under that section will show up. So you can see the pages, the group, and all this is my collaboration space. And so it changes based on whatever pages I've created under each tab. So sections are these things that we see here to the far left. Once we expand each section, then we will see our tabs, and then once we click on our tab, then we will see our pages. So it's like having a very large filing cabinet and things sorted and filed the way you want. So play around with that. Notice, as we've said in another video, you've got your welcome space, you've got your collaboration space, which is where your students can collaborate and work together. You've got your content library, which is like having a filing cabinet in your classroom that students have access to, so it's where you put anything that you want the students to be able to see. The teacher only space is basically for you as a teacher. You can plan anything from here and then push it out to the students when you want them to be able to see it. And then under that, you can see I've got some names. Under that are all the files for the students who I have enrolled in my course. So everyone will have these 4 sections, and then depending on your roster, these sections here will vary. So spend some time playing around in this area, looking at what you've got. Now you will have the introduction pieces until you know more about Notebook and until you play around with it some. And when I say introduction piece, basically what that means, let's see here, is you're going to have basically tutorials like this one says, using the teacher only section. And you'll see a tutorial with some pictures and some links and things like that in there. And you can get rid of those once you feel comfortable with navigating it on your own and once you feel like you have a handle on things. All right, so I'm going to come down here and I'm going to click on one of my student folders. And you'll notice that inside of here, I have the options of class notes, handouts, homework, quizzes, and then Hamlet Act 1. Now, the Hamlet Act 1 is something that I've added because, as I've said before, when I organize my online courses, I like to organize them by unit or thematically. That can be by chapter, by standard, but I like to see everything that goes into one module of learning all focused together. Now, you'll notice that Teams automatically divides this by the type of work that the students are turning in or the product. So they've divided it by class notes, handouts, which are things for students to look at, homework, and quizzes. Now, these are your defaults, and what a default means is this is what you see every single time. Everybody's going to have it, but you can change it from there. So I'm going to show you how to change these defaults to be a little bit more streamlined to what your needs are and what things you desire to have inside of your class. So if you come up here to the very top navigation and come over here to the Class Notebook tab and click on it, and then what you will see is you have things like distribute page, distribute new section, content to copy to content library, and then review student work. If you come over here to the far right, you also have some additional resources. So this is information about the class notebook itself, and this is where you can go to after you've created things to send them out to students. Part of the Class Notebook tab is also where you manage your notebook. So if you come across here to the secondary navigation screen across the top, you'll see a tab that's got a little notebook section on it that says Manage Notebooks. So click on that and you're going to have a menu come up that walks you through which sections that you automatically want to have under each student notebook. You can see that it says Student Notebook Sections here. You have the sections that are automatic, which are class notes, handouts, homework, and quizzes, and then any sections that you've added. So what you need to do at this point is take a few minutes and think about how you want to set up your class. Do you want to organize it by the product, by the student work? If so, you can leave it like this. You might add sections such as projects, tests, essays, things like that, and that way you can group all of these things together collectively. However, if you decide that you want to organize these by units of study or by standards, chapters, etc., you might want to change what these sections look like. Great. So I've decided that I do want to leave the students a section to take notes, to interact, and to jot things down, but I'm going to change it to something else. So I'm going to change this section to My Notebook. Now, notice that in order to do that, I simply highlighted it by dragging it and selecting it with my mouse, and then I started typing. Once I started typing these changes in, the Save button turned purple, and now I can interact with it and actually click on Save. So it takes it just a minute to save. It's thinking really, really hard today, so I'll be right back. All right, so notice that it saved class notes to my notebook, and it's put all of my notebook sections into alphabetical order. To my knowledge, this is by default, so I'm not sure if you can change this, but I'll play around with that and let you know. So as you can see, I've gone through and I've added the rest of the acts of the play Hamlet. So I've got Act 2 and 3 as a section, Act 4 as a section, and Act 5 as a section. So I've changed the name to all of my pre-existing sections, the default sections that just come when you have your notebook. Now, I want to add an additional section. We're going to be doing a unit on Beowulf as well. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to click Add Section. Basically what it does is it gives me a new section that has just a generic title, and I can come in here, hopefully that is spelled correctly, add my new section and click Save. it is going to put these into alphabetical order. So just keep in mind that it'll be easy for students to find if they know where they're going, but they won't have access to these in the order that you do them in the class unless it's sequential, like is in the Hamlet Acts right here. All right, so a couple more things from this Manage Class Notebook page. The teacher-only section group, you've got that enabled. Basically, what that means is that you are going to have a place that you can use as a sandbox where you can play around with content, you can add things to, and it's private. No one else can see it but you. I love this tool because I can make as many mistakes as I need to, and then once I have it completely created, send that out to kids. Now, right now my collaboration space is unlocked. That means students can go in and collaborate and work on things together. If I don't want them to have that option, I just need to click in there, it'll toggle it, and lock that bad boy right up for me. To unlock it again, I just click on it again. Now, if you want to send out a notebook link, you can do that from here. And basically, that will allow people to view things inside of the notebook. You can just copy it and then send that out in an email. So once I'm done determining what I want my different sections to look like, I'll come up here to the Close button, and that will take me back to my actual notebook. Again, if I want to see the new changes I made, I'll click on the Open Navigation Panel arrow, and voila, I'll go down to a student, and now you can see what student sections they have access to. And notice that it copied them over to all of the students. So they're all in there. Last thing, from here I can actually organize these and drag and drop them to a certain order, but keep in mind that once I do that, it takes me out of where I am all the way to the top. And I know I said that these were in alphabetical order for students, but apparently they aren't. But I can reorganize those and students can now see them in order. However, understand that it only changes the order for one. Students, however, are able to go in and figure out what they want that to look like. Hope this helps.